Hi, it's Kyle from Bitewing Games, and today we're learning how to play Spectral, a brand new deduction game from Ryan Courtney, being published by us here at Bitewing Games. In Spectral, you are a treasure hunter, uncovering treasures in Spectral Manor. Each room contains glyphs, indicating which other rooms contain treasures or curses. As you place your treasure hunters between rooms, you will be able to secretly discover this information. Treasure hunters next to curse rooms go home empty-handed, but treasure hunters next to rooms with treasure will gain wealth. The point of the game is to win, and you win by having the most points. Points are earned by collecting these treasure tokens and by having unused treasure hunters at the end of the game. On your turn, you'll simply lay your treasure hunters between two rooms, and then choose one of the rooms to look at the information, finding where other treasures or curses are. Or you can pass on your turn. The game will continue around and around until one player has placed all of their treasure hunters out, or all players consecutively pass. At this point, you'll reveal all room cards, and treasure hunters adjacent to rooms with treasures will be awarded that treasure. Let's take a look at the setup. And this is a prototype, so your version may look just slightly different. Each player selects a treasure hunter band, taking the matching treasure hunter pieces, player pad, and a pencil. Separate the room cards into 4 stacks, A, B, C, and D. Shuffle each stack individually, then place them into their shuffling sleeves. Then shuffle those sleeves. Basically, you want to randomize the 4 cards in the stack, and then randomize those 4 stacks. Making sure to keep the cards face down, place the cards from each sleeve into a horizontal row, creating a 4x4 grid. And if you did things right, each row of your grid should be the letters A, B, C, and D in a random order. Place the 2 horizontal axis markers to separate the top 2 rows from the bottom 2 rows. For your first game, or when playing with new players, flip the 4 center cards face up. This will give all players 4 pieces of information of where curses or treasure will be. Place these curses and or treasure tokens onto their proper rooms. Each player will also remove one of each treasure hunter from the game if playing in this beginning mode. I'll explain how each of the cards works in just a second. If you're playing a 2-player game, place rubble pieces between the center column and row as shown. With 3 players, place rubble between the center 4 cards as shown. Randomly select a starting player and take turns in a clockwise order going around and around until the game ends. On your turn, you will either stake out a hallway between 2 rooms, looking at the information, or you'll pass. So to stake out a hallway, choose any hallway between 2 rooms. If it's an empty hallway, place 1 or more of your workers there, and then choose one of those 2 adjacent rooms to look at, figuring out information. If the space is occupied, you can still go there. You just have to play at least double the value of these pieces. For example, green occupies this hallway with a value of 3 treasure hunters. In order to go here, you must play a value of 6 treasure hunters. Return the treasure hunters to the green player, and you take control of the area. Rubble counts as 2, so to replace a rubble block, you must place at least 4 treasure hunters in that location. After claiming a location, look at one of the 2 adjacent room cards. Without revealing the card to anyone else, look at the card and record the information on your player pad, and return the card face down. Instead of staking out a hallway, you may choose to pass. One reason to do this is if you're deciding to strategically wait to see where other players go before you play your pieces out. Just be a little bit careful, because if all players consecutively pass, the game ends immediately. Okay, let's take a look at each of the cards and what they do. Each card contains a glyph pointing to one other room. The card will either indicate where a treasure is, or where a curse is. This is a 2 diagonal glyph. It will point to the only card that is 2 spaces away diagonally. So if I reveal this card, I know that the card 2 diagonal spaces away has a treasure token on it. This is a corner quadrant glyph. This points to the card that is diagonal and in the same quadrant. So this card will tell me that there is a treasure in this room. The 2 clockwise glyph tells you what is in the room 2 spaces away clockwise. There is both an inside ring and an outside ring. This card indicates there is a treasure 2 rooms clockwise on the inner ring, And this card indicates there is a curse 2 rooms clockwise on the outer ring. The final glyph is the horizontal reflection glyph. If I reveal this treasure card, I know the room across the horizontal axis has a treasure token. And this card tells me there is a curse in this room. That is a lot of information to keep track of. You of course don't want to put the curse or treasure tokens onto the board because then everyone else knows what information you just found out. So to help you keep track of this information, use your player pad. The top half tells you which cards are in the game and what the symbols mean. The bottom half is where you can record the information. So if I reveal this card, I know that this row is D. I can cross off that card. I now know what these 3 other cards may be. I learned this room contains a treasure, which I'll mark here. If it contained a curse, I'd instead mark it here. Let's jump to the end of the game. If all players consecutively pass, the game ends immediately. And once one player has played their last treasure hunter out onto the board, then each player, including that player, will get 1 more turn. Reveal cards one at a time from left to right, then top to bottom. With each card you reveal, place the appropriate token onto the indicated room. After revealing all rooms, find any rooms with a curse token. Any treasure hunters surrounding these rooms are returned to the box, not to the player. Some rooms may contain both treasures and curses. Those treasure tokens just won't be awarded. For the rooms without curses, award treasures to the players with pieces surrounding those rooms. If only one player has pieces surrounding a card, that player takes the treasure. If multiple players have pieces around the card, divide the treasure based on the occupied spaces surrounding that room. It doesn't matter how many individual treasure hunters you have outside of the room, it's more how many spaces you occupy on the sides of that room. So in this example, both green and red surround this room. Red surrounds 2 sides and green surrounds 1 side. So divide the 12-point treasure into 3 equal pieces. Green gets 1 piece and red gets 2 pieces. After awarding all the points for the treasures, award points for any unused treasure hunters that you haven't placed on the board. So in a 3-player game with 5 treasure hunters off the board, you'll score 3 points each for a total of 15 points for your unspent treasure hunters. Total up your points and the player with the most points wins. In case of a tie, the player with the fewest cursed treasure hunters wins the game. And if there's still a tie, the tied players share the victory. And now you know how to play Spectral. You could stop the video now and go start the game. There is an advanced module that adds in 3 extra types of cards. So to finish off the video, I'm going to go over a few examples, and then I'll go over the advanced modules. This is the first time Nick, Cammy, and Amanda have played the game. They've set it up for a 3-player game, including the 4 rubble blocks. Since it is their first time, they will flip over the center 4 cards and discard 1 of each type of treasure hunter. This card shows that a curse will be placed on the horizontally reflected card. This card shows that a treasure will be 2 cards clockwise on the inner ring. This card indicates that the diagonal card in the same quadrant will have a treasure token, and this card shows that the reflected card will have a treasure token. Before Cammy goes, she marks off the information she knows on her player sheet. The second row is D, and the third row is A. This room has a curse, so she does not want to place any of her treasure hunters in these hallways. She'd like to figure out the rest of the A row, so she places 1 treasure hunter here, since that gives her claim to the lower treasure, and it lets her look at this card. She looks at the card, not revealing it to others. She now knows that the room 2 away diagonally has a curse. She marks this on her player sheet, Xing out the adjacent hallways. She doesn't want to place her pieces here. She has now seen 3 of the 4 cards in the A row, so she knows that the last card will show this symbol. She can mark that on her player sheet, indicating that the room 2 away clockwise has a treasure. Nick goes next, placing his treasure hunter here. He secretly gathers information. Amanda wants to steal Cammy's spot, so she plays a value of 2 treasure hunters here, returning Cammy's piece back to her. As the game progresses, Cammy wants to claim a location next to the 2 center cards. She must place 4 treasure hunters to replace the rubble. Since she's out of treasure hunters, everyone gets one final turn. Nick uses his 4 to kick Cammy out of here, returning her piece back to her. Amanda places 1 treasure hunter here. Cammy has the choice to place her treasure hunters back on the board, but decides to pass. Players reveal cards one at a time, placing the tokens on their rooms as they are revealed. Remove treasure hunters from any hallways adjacent to a room with a curse token. At this point, award points for treasures. For this room, both purple and green will be awarded 6 points. In this room, the 24 points will be split up 3 ways. For the 3 occupied spaces, 8 points going to red, and the other 16 points going to purple. Cammy ended with 36 points. She also has 2 unused treasure hunters remaining, and in a 3-player game they are worth 3 points each. So she earns an additional 6 points, giving her a final score of 42. Okay, the advanced module. It contains 3 special cards: Flip, Swap, and Freeze. These cards will activate before placing out curse or treasure tokens. Flip cards deactivate the room they are pointing to. That room can still have curse or treasure cards placed on it, but the card itself will not place a curse or treasure card onto another card. Swap cards will swap places with the card it is pointing at. Rotate the card sideways after swapping so you know that you've already taken that effect. Freeze cards will freeze the card that they're pointing at. For example, this card will freeze the card across the horizontal axis. A frozen card keeps the token it displays. So this card will place a curse token on itself rather than the card it is pointing to. And if there's any issues, always resolve the cards in alphabetical order, A, B, C, and D. To play with these cards, select all of one type and replace the matching normal card. All players will note the change on their player pad. Alternatively, you can use 1 card from each module. All players should mark the new cards on their player pad. When using all 3 modules, resolve the flip, then the swap, then the freeze in that order. And now you really know how to play Spectral. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Until next time.